Hello and welcome back. My name is Oeveo and today we'll be taking a look at Oeveo's desktop PC under desk mount. This thing is pretty freaking cool and it's probably one of the best looking under desk mounts that I have seen on the market. It has an all black powder coated finish, which is just absolutely amazing. It's all steel, so it's very robust, and honestly I'm a pretty big fan of it so far. This mount has a very simple design which makes it pretty unique looking. And it also does include all of the mounting hardware you need, including wall anchors, which is really strange. I don't think you'd be wanting to use this to mount to the wall, but they're there should you need them. Oh, and one more thing. So I do have 3 minor complaints. And the first being that these screws are pretty long, and I have a very thin desk. And I think a lot of computer desks are pretty thin. However, I really wish they would include some washers, and I've complained about this before, and it's okay that they haven't done it yet. But I wish they would include some washers for people like me who have really thin desks. Secondly, for this particular mount with the fasteners, I kind of wish they would have included maybe like plastic, neoprene, or rubber washers that would go in between these two things, because I feel like they will scratch up the black powder coating, even though you really shouldn't be like mounting it, dismounting it, mounting it, dismounting it, or assembling it, whatever. So that's one thing. And the last thing is I really wish they would have maybe a rubber pad here, or even a rubber pad here, because on my gaming PC I have glass side panels on both sides, and it makes me feel on edge knowing that I'm putting glass right up against steel, because let's say there's an earthquake or something, maybe it'll vibrate too much and break. I don't know. Wish there would be rubber there. Not a big deal. We can do that ourselves, although I'm not going to do that and like go get rubber mounts because I don't really care that much, I guess. It would just been nice to include it. All right, let's move on. Before we get to actually mounting this thing, there are a couple technical challenges we need to overcome. And the first being that I want the PC to be mounted here, but I think that it's gonna stick out about 6 inches. That's probably not 6 inches, but if it sticks out 6 inches, then as I'm walking through the door into the office, I might actually walk into that. And I don't know if I'd like it over here. So the next train of thought is to mount it over here. Well, I already have my Mac Mini mounted over here, so I'd have to redo all of this. And then I thought about, well, I could just put it all the way on the back side here, so it's like mounted lengthwise and goes that way, but I have my UPS here. And then lastly, if we actually look at this thing, the power button to turn it on is right here. So if I stick it basically lengthwise here, I'd have to reach under this lip to try and like power on the thing, and that's not going to work either. So I think what we're going to do is use my other desk, and we're going to mount it here first. So to go like this, it'll come sticking out, and I'm going to try and actually get it up underneath this bar. So both of this desk and the desk behind me are the same, and I think we'll have just enough clearance because we can get 20 inches of height out of this thing. And if we do, I think I'll be able to get the tower just underneath this, and we can actually slide it further back. So I think that's what we're going to go for first. And then after that, we'll check what it's like to mount it on the rear here. I'm just going to first put the mount about where I want it and mark 4 holes so I know where to screw. There we go. And now we should be able to just screw this thing in somewhat more accurately. As I mentioned earlier, these screws are actually just too tall and will poke out from the desk. So I went around looking for like some sort of washers. These are slightly too big. And I found some nuts laying around, so I decided to put my screw in my nuts. And that's going to be just smaller than the top of my desk. And I think with the steel here, the little lip on all of these mounts, it'll be just slightly under the desk, and that should be pretty safe, I think, for mounting. But that's what we're gonna do anyway. So on to the next part. I think I'm just gonna slightly drill a hole first to make this a bit easier before I actually try and drill it in. Okay, well that one screw is basically holding everything in place, so since we have that, I'm gonna just go ahead and get the next one in. And now the other two should be easy from here. I don't see any like bumps in the wood here from where I mounted it. There should be like screws like right about here somewhere, and I don't feel any. Definitely don't see any. So I think we did a good job mounting this, and those nuts really came in handy. And if anyone's wondering, those are 1/4 nuts. So, all right, next up is the base. So this is what's actually going to hold the computer. So we grab a couple of fasteners here. I really hope you guys can see those. A couple of fasteners, and these hand grips or hand fasteners, I don't actually know what these are called. I'm going to put these on the inside so they're a little bit more hidden, and then the actual screw part will go right here, so it'll be a lot more flush and hopefully look a little bit more clean. Now this should be pain. Well, I shouldn't say it'd be a pain. It should be very, very easy to get this part up here. And remember, we're going to go for the maximum height and hope that we get the most clearance. So we're only going to go to the first hole. Can't even get it in there. All right, first one's in. And on the other side. Sweet. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down a little bit, just enough so they won't actually like fall out. Okay, so I'm just hand tightening that for now. We don't need to get this thing totally riveted down. It just needs to give enough support here. Before we put the base plate here that actually will hold the PC against this, we're going to go ahead and mount my gaming PC because I have this bar up here. I don't know if you guys see that, and I won't have the clearance. So we're going to mount this first, and then we're going to put the base plate on. So this should just barely fit, and it does. That is not scary at all. And I don't know if you guys can see this either, but I'm just going to lift up the gaming PC a little bit, slide the base plate on, and we're going to use the included hand tighteners, fasteners, the hand fasteners here, or well, they're sort of hand fasteners to just get it locked in. You guys won't be able to see this part because there's no way to get enough lighting and the camera down here, so sorry. And it's mounted. Now, because of the design of my desk, it is leaning way to the right, and that's mostly because I have that giant bar back there where the desk is has all the mechanics for raising and lowering the thing, because there's like a gear shift down over there, and there's also a crossbar that goes all the way underneath there. And so because of that, we are slightly offset. Now, if the mount had just one more rung, just literally one more, this would be perfect. Now, if you don't have a standing desk or a desk that has a giant bar that goes down the middle, I don't think that's going to be a problem for you. And honestly, I don't know if it's going to matter much anyway for me, because if I put this PC where the Mac Mini is, I don't think anyone would notice, or like at all. And plus it'll be like really low to the ground, so, and there's a lot like going on in this corner, so I don't think anyone would notice. I think it'll look fine. But here is pretty much what it looks like mounted up. It's not bad. I was worried about this sticking too far out, so like if it was over here on this corner, I know I would definitely walk into it, but that looks like about 3 inches, maybe 2.5 inches. So it doesn't stick out as bad as I thought it would, which is good. So I could stick it on this side, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm gonna more or less hide it in this corner over here, because I think that's where it will look best. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get this desk finished up so we can get a better idea of how much space I'm actually saving. Wow, this actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And while it's not my actual desk setup, it'll be very similar to this anyway. At least what I would like to do. I'd like to have my iPad over there, like you see, watching Twitch or something while I play games, or maybe even watching my YouTube chat while I stream, whatever it may be. That would be really cool to have. And I mean, it just frees up a lot of space. Now on my desk, I won't have a plant, but I will have the mini nuke over there and my controller and stuff. So basically I'll have room for all of this stuff now. And this desk is slightly longer than this desk here. And having the PC down here, I mean, it has so much free space now. And with a slightly bigger desk, I mean, it's gonna feel gargantuan. But what I've got to do now is a whole heck of a lot. I have to relocate the Mac Mini, and all of these cables, everything's cable managed under here. I have to relocate. Actually, no, I can leave the battery. So there's the UPS right there. I can leave that battery there, can leave the cable tray, but I will have to relocate this. I don't know if I'll put it on top of my desk, like underneath my ultra wide, or if maybe I'll mount it on this side. I don't know. We'll have some options to go with. But yeah, I'm really liking this setup for sure. I think I am definitely gonna mount my PC so on the left side of my desk, so over there. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do it. Well, that worked out a lot better than I expected. I'm glad that it fits over here pretty well and is mostly out of the way. And I'm very glad that I didn't have to mount it on the rear side of the desk, so that way I didn't have to worry about like kicking it or kneeing it and breaking the glass from when there's an intense moment in a video game or something of that nature. And also, if I mounted it on the rear, I would literally have to move probably the UPS as well as the Mac Mini and redo a lot of the cables, but I don't have to worry about that when it gets mounted on that side because it will just be a couple of cable swaps like DisplayPort and USB, and I think that's about it really. Now, Oeveo did send this over to me, and I'm a huge fan of their products, and if you're at all interested in looking at some of the things they offer, they did give me an offer code that applies site-wide for 10% off, and the offer code is SPXLabs10, and you can find all sorts of things on their website, and I highly recommend checking it out. And again, everything they've ever sent me is pretty awesome, and I've been very happy with it so far. And I've even bought a few things of my own, and those products I have been really happy with as well. And you can check out all those videos by searching for it, I guess, because there's a bunch through my YouTube history. And of course, I want to thank all of you for watching and making all of these videos possible. So I will see you all next time.